Value alignment means that you identify the key customers that merit a relationship marketing. Because, as I already stated, it is impossible to treat every customer in the same way. But this is what was happening in the mass marketing. Traditionally, in marketing, and still some firms are doing that, treat all customers similarly. But imagine your life. It's a question of priority in your life. You don't have enough time, because time is scarce. It's a scarce resource. You have to fix priority with your friends or with your social capital. So you have some loose relationships and bridging capital. You have some stronger relationships, bonding capital. And the stronger relationships are established with friends or people you like, or with which you will get more value. That is, you're close to some people and you would like to spend more time with them because you like them. Italy, your husband or your boyfriend, your girlfriend, or your wife. So these are clearly close people with which you spend more time. You spend more time, you allocate more resources to your family and your best friends. And you allocate less resources to people to lose relationships. That is people you don't know well, we don't like. That's a question of allocation of resources. Your resource allocation means that you allocate, you decide how you spend your resources. Resource might be time, might be money. You allocate these resources, these limited resources, to priority projects or activities. Let's come now to customer portfolio management. It's exactly the same. You have customers that generate a lot of profit now and in the future. And you have customers, so A customer. And you have customers who generate few profit now and in the future. These are C customers. And that is exactly what we call resources allocation. You classify the customers according to the importance and you allocate resources in priority form. And this is what you can see here. This is actually a database coming from a grocery retailer Casino in France. So we segmented the database in 4 tiers. So you see tier A, B, C, and D. And what you can see here is actually tier A represents only 5% of the quantity of the database, but it generates 30% of the profit. So 5%, that's a small amount of customers, generates 1/3 of the profit. So these are top customers. Platinum, right? You could call them the platinum customers. And they are, by the way, 5% are so loyal. The amount of customers who is so loyal in retail varies between 2 and 5%. Here we have the 5% of so loyal customers, and you can see that they generate 1/3 of the turnover, of the profitability. If you lose them, it's a disaster. That is why, in terms of marketing implication, you have to allocate a lot of resources. These are the customers you have to focus on mainly. If you have top customers complaining, you have to do everything for them. They're always right, even if they're not right, because you have to satisfy them in every domain. That is why it's important to allocate an important amount of your resources to them. You have tier B, the divided loyalties. So they spend 1/2 of the expenditures to one store, to a casino, and the other half to a competitive store. Cumulated, they represent 15%. They generate another 1/3 of profitability. Again, these customers are very, very important. If you focus only on these, you can save a lot of money because you spend your money only on 15% of the customers and they bring you 2/3 of your profit. So again, it's important to make them loyal. And in terms of loyalty management, as they spend half of the money in another store, as the customer share is half in a competitive retail store, it would make sense to try to switch these expenditures to your focal store through an adequate loyalty management, through compensations, through better service, through better relationship marketing. So tier A and B are the tiers which merit the most important relationship approach. These are your partners. These customers have to be treated very special. And you can see here 30% in related quantity represents 80% of the profit. These are actually multi-loyals. They share their expenditures between your focal store and 2 other competitive stores. And what you can see, that they represent only 20%. So it's still a lot, but much less than here. You could say that with 1/3 of your customers, you realize almost the whole profitability of the store. So actually, you could stop at this customer tier. Because as you can see, the occasional customers, the opportunists, tier G, they represent 70% in quantity. From 30 to 100%. So 70% of your customers only bring 20% of the profitability. These are the baddest customers. These are opportunists. They come from time to time. They come probably when you're doing a sales promotion, also called cherry pickers, because they only come if you have very attractive offers, but they actually not bring a lot to your business. So these customers have to be treated with minimum of resources. So actually no money has to be spent to this customer. For example, in France, they're called Platinum, which is a tier A, Gold, which is a tier B, Silver is tier C, and tier D are Explorer or Ivory customers. In terms of customer management, tier A, the Platinum customers, most of the resources allocated to them because they have special services and special hotlines they can call 24 hours a day. Abroad, if they want to change a plane, if they want to change the connection, they can call, there's always maximum of effort done to make them, to satisfy them. These Platinum customers are mostly business travelers. They want the flexibility to take a plane early. If the plane is overbooked and the Platinum traveler wants to go back with an earlier plane.
As the airlines practice yield management, they will see which are the high contribution customers, the Platinum customers, and the low contribution plus customers. And in that case, they will pay the low contribution customers to leave their place to the Platinum customers by making space in the plane and by giving then the Platinum customers the opportunity to take a plane earlier. This is called yield management. It is regularly practiced by all the airlines of the world in order to offer high quality services to the Platinum customers or to the top customers in order to satisfy them fully.
And this is one example how companies really allocate in priority resources to the top customers. Another example are the launches, airline launches. So these Platinum and Gold customers can go in airline launches where they can have free food, they have free wine, free champagne. There are showers, they can have a shower, there's some beds where you can recover, which is important when you're doing a lot of long-haul flights. It's important because you spend a lot of time waiting. It's better to wait in a lounge than in a public space. Third, these people have special counters to check in. They have special lines in the passport control, in the security control. They're boarding in priority. This also costs money. These customers get a lot of value because they bring a lot of value to the brand. That is why tier A and B are the privileged customers, and the most important part of money or investments is done into these customers. You can see the Ivory or the tier D. What can they get? What do they get? Nothing. They are a member of the frequent flyer program. They give the data. Every purchase is recorded, but they have basically no advantage. They have the only advantage is to collect miles that they might transform one day in a ticket, but there are a lot of hurdles. First of all, they have not non-linear mileage schemes, which means that not for 1 mile flight, they get only half a mile in the frequent flyer. For the airline, it's an important mean to collect the data because the Ivory customer might become one day Silver, Gold, or even Platinum. You can follow the customer within the CRM. That is why it's important to collect this data. And this is applicable actually for every brand or every domain. In retail, it's exactly that. That is why in retail it would make sense to have priority cards or gold cards and silver and ivory, because actually there are different types of customers. That's not really a reality, because if you look at most of the loyalty schemes in retail, there are very few retailers are really differentiating the cards according to the customer value. One example is Tesco in the UK. They're actually applying this, and they have different cards according to customer tiers, according to customer value. But in France, actually, all the loyalty cards are the same, which, in my opinion, does not really make sense. But the idea is really to treat customers differently according to the value they bring. You can see here, it's not a real Pareto rule. The Pareto rule would be 20-80, Here we have 30% of the customers bring 80% of the profitability. That's the first point. So it's important to identify the key customers here and then to decide to which you allocate most of the resources.